Studio check.
Frequencies check.
We are live on air.
You are listening to the In Fact Blessing the Airwaves. Take the journey into the world of sports, news, entertainment, while embracing the hottest beats on the planet. Rocking the mind, body, and with energy, electricity, and a splash of controversy. Now, without further ado, it's our pleasure to bring to you
The biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world.
the biggest show in the world, the SBTV Nation.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Happy weekend to you. It is Saturday morning. It is a full slate of college football. I am super excited today, and I got both my dogs on the line. First off, I've got Dr. Dan. Welcome back to the party.
Oh, man, happy to be here. Happy to be here, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Dream, what's up?
Today I is titled B&B and not for bed and breakfast. Back to basics as far as gambling is concerned for your boy. I got a slate on my card, and I just want to let you guys have a little preview of the money line parlays is back in effect.
Back in effect, Dream. Exactly.
Favorite money line parlays, like no sense, no look, no any type of excitement at all. Just boring stuff, but straight up gonna have you not with a stomach ache, just to win.
Just
Would you
to
get
win.
jealous of my Colts Blue Jays money line par from last week?
It did come to form, Dan.
It did. I sweated that for a while on both games, but yeah, it worked out.
Oh, really? All right, so real quick, before we get into college football, I just want to talk real quick about the Major League Baseball playoffs, Dan, since you are the evil genius of baseball. And I'd like to know what your thoughts are. American League, National League, go.
So last night's game just kind of, man, Blue Jays left me kind of holding your, I'm not even going to say the word because it's not polite in family company. But, man, bases loaded, second and third one out. I mean, so many times that they just couldn't get runs across. And I thought that game was kind of a coin flip going in. I actually I thought the Indians were going to win in 6 games before. I still think that's true. Obviously, I know Hatter, the Rogers Center can be tough, especially,
Yes.
People pegging you with beers and stuff.
True.
But no, I think the Indians are going to get this series done in 6. I think their pitching is markedly better. And Kluber was able to work himself out of jams last night that normally he would give up a few runs. That was his first ever playoff start too, right? Or championship game start, I think, ever.
Oh, yeah, most likely, because Cleveland has been there forever.
And he didn't pitch in the last series. I think that was his first playoff start ever.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because he was I kind of thought the over 7 was going to happen, so that didn't, but still think the Indians take it. And then, look, I just think the Cubs win in 5. I think the Cubs win this series in 5.
All right. And, when do you think Clayton Kershaw is going to actually pitch, considering the fact that he's pitched so much now?
Yeah, it's really tough. You got to think Game 3.
Game 3.
You got to think that, yeah, because here's the thing, and I know all these media guys are rewriting, and I love this revisionist history where, Clayton Kershaw, because he had 2 good outings, including a save, he's now the best playoff. Come on, guys. I mean, he's still been mediocre in the playoffs. Even in the last game he pitched, he still gave up a number of runs. So I think they save him for a home game.
Okay.
And come out Game 3 when he's real fresh. At that point, I don't think it's going to matter. I think the Cubs are going to take these first 2 in Chicago, and it's going to be a wrap. I think Kershaw might win his game on the 18th. If he doesn't, they get swept.
All right. Dream, what's your thoughts on that? He's calling the Cleveland Indians to emerge and advance to the World Series.
No doubt, and he would know better than me. You know better than to listen to any of my stuff. I just felt like the Blue Jays kind of loosey-goosey, thinking that they got nothing to lose out there, that type of attitude. I kind of like what I seen out of them. Listen, I'm the worst. You know me, I don't know baseball. And I'm really great with either one of these 2 teams, but I'm leaning Toronto, and that's just the novice eye. I got no money on it other than, I do have them in the series bet, but it's pennies. So I'm excited about it. But I'm leaning Toronto for that series. I've been on the Cubs to win the whole thing since the beginning of this thing. I think, though, personally, I see Kershaw, and Dan knows better than me, so don't listen to me. Listen to Dan, okay? Listen to Dan. Don't listen to me.
Credit where credit is due.
My thing is, I would expect Kershaw to be game 2 because if you get in trouble, and especially if you lose game 1, if you get in trouble, you're going to need him to pitch twice in this series. So, I mean,
yeah, but it's a 7-game series, so he'll still be able to pitch twice.
Even if you lose, but not if he pitches the 3rd game like you're saying and you've lost 3, he won't.
Well, if he loses his start, so if you go down 3-0 after that, it's a wrap anyway.
I see them starting him at 2 as opposed to 3.
Possibly, but the thing is remember, these games are back to back. It's not enough rest. And remember, he came off an injury at the end of the year with that back.
That's true.
So I know what they're saying, and I just think that they don't look. I don't think they think that Rich Hill is that bad of an option, which he isn't. The problem is just that anybody that the Cubs throw at him is going to be better.
Right.
Well, go ahead, Dan.
I was just saying, Kershaw's the one pitcher they have that is the paper favorite in that matchup, right? So I think they save him because you can lose 2 on the road. I'm not saying you want to, but if you lose 2 on the road and then you come back to LA, Kershaw wins, then you go into it saying, all right, if we get our win at home, we're even. That's why I think he does it on full rest.
Well, I got to tell you something. I just pulled up a page that has Kenta Maeda pitching today and Clayton Kershaw pitching tomorrow, Dan.
I think that's a huge mistake.
You think so, huh?
A huge mistake.
What's that? What's that, Dream?
Don't buy in with my baseball prediction.
I will wait to see that because I just saw earlier that it hasn't been released yet. So maybe I just can't see that. It's crazy because he threw so many pitches and then he still came into a game. I know you want to say, oh, it's a throw day.
Yep.
But I think it's a mistake and it's a panic move.
Owner got on the phone and said, hey, player, $500 million?
Yes.
Hit the mound. Ice up your arm in the next 3 days. Get your ass to the mound.
I hear you. And I guess what they're going to say is that, on the 13th, which is when, the 13th was when he saved that game. It would have been a throw day for him anyway. And for those who don't know, a pitcher normally goes into a bullpen a couple days after a start, throws 30 or 40 pitches and calls it a day, right? Just to loosen out. So maybe I just think it's a panic move because then let's say Clayton Kershaw loses that game at Chicago. And I know you don't play to lose a game. You're playing to win every game, but you got to trust your other pitchers. So if you throw Kenta Maeda and then Rich Hill and then save Kershaw for 3, if Kershaw loses, then you got Rich Hill going at home in game 3, that series is a wrap. Series is done.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Dan? We are definitely, you and I are both surprised that the LA Dodgers are even at this point right now.
Well, it was the Nationals, and they are the best choke artists in baseball. So
couldn't agree more on that.
Lost their ace, though. Come on, give them a little break.
Well, they did lose their ace, but they should. I mean, come on. Dusty Baker just proved how dusty he really is what the problem is.
Exactly.
Is he does not. He is a good clubhouse guy, right? He's the guy that can get your guys motivated, which is 90% of the battle as a manager. The problem is the other 10%, he's one of the worst at managing a bullpen. I mean, and that's what cost him.
Messing with the dust, man. Wait, whoa, time out.
I never liked Dusty Baker as a manager.
Dusty, yeah.
Dream, you play to win the game.
Coaching? Well, let's look at the Boston Red Sox.
I like Dusty. Don't get me started on the Boston Red Sox
situation.
I would have. That manager should be fired.
Oh,
that manager should be fired. I'm not saying Dusty should be fired. And I love watching the Dusty Baker interview. Sometimes the things he does in a baseball game, and I'll say the same thing about Terry Collins. Like, the players love Terry Collins, but he does that WTF moment where you're looking at the screen like, wait, what just happened? That's what I get from Dusty sometimes. I think
Dusty just for his first name.
Well, it's easy. It makes it easy. But here's the thing. If you look at who's left in the playoffs right now, minus the Dodgers, right?
Yeah.
You got some pretty good managing going on. So,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So anyway, hey, we got a game going on today, Dan, and let's just jump right into it before we get into college football because we got a lot to talk about here. We've got 4:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You got Toronto with J.A. Happ versus Josh Tomlin, and Toronto is favored in Cleveland minus 134 with an under-over of 8.5. So they're expecting Toronto to win this game. How about you?
This is a tough one. I mean, look, J.A. Happ is a 20-game winner, 3-1-8, and against the Indians, he's very good. He's faced them a lot. They hit 232 off him. No home runs in 112 at-bats against the Indians.
Okay.
So, Tomlin also, he just had like a weird injury. Like, I don't know what just happened, but I guess he's fine to go. Something about a cut or something like that. I think that this is one of those that I got to go Blue Jays here. Tomlin has gotten lit up by the Blue Jays. And I think, again, I think the Indians win this series in 6, but this is definitely a game that the Indians take.
Dream, you ready for the Blue Jays to get going?
I am ready for the Blue Jays to get going. I thought they would get going last night, but they were not able to get going, and neither was, speaking of which, if you guys are done with baseball, I'm going to segue that right into not getting it going.
Yeah, let's talk about not so Action Jackson last night.
Oh, no, Action Jackson was action, but the rest of the team and the defense was not, seemed to be, at it. You talk about Action Jackson last night. And the funny statistic is Action Jackson had 141, I think like 140 rushing yards last night. And we're talking about he didn't get it going. It's still dominant from a quarterback position.
It is.
Oh, they had so many turnovers. I mean, the turnovers, just bad play outside of him.
No doubt.
Oh, definitely. And you know what I noticed, too, with a lot of his rushing yards is that, he was like, it looked like he was tiptoeing out of bounds. And it seems like the defenders from Duke were letting up, thinking that he was going to go out of bounds, and all of a sudden he runs around him and gets another, 15, 20 yards.
Well, because God forbid you touch your thumb toe out of bounds and then someone accidentally hits you and it's 15 yards and you get thrown out of the game these days.
Right, exactly. But you know what? Hey, they had, what was it, the roughing the kicker at the end where
horrible.
It was a missed field goal by Louisville, which would have given Duke the ball down 3 with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, horrible kickers in college football.
Yeah, the kickers are very bad.
Ugh.
I'm seeing better kickers in high school than I am in college.
NFL and college, both just bad kicking. Louisville, that was the 3rd kick he missed?
I don't recall.
Didn't he miss before that?
Yeah, he did.
He missed, right? So I'm saying, but yeah, that, they actually got very fortunate because if you look, I looked at that play, it almost looked like you could make an argument that he was kind of pushed into the kicker. So, but I mean, that was the game right there. That was the game. You can't let that happen, But yeah, no, I mean, the rest of Louisville didn't look good. But then again, I did take the minus 16.5 second half play, which obviously didn't work out because I thought they'd have a big second half, and if they didn't fumble in the red zone, maybe they would have.
Right.
But God, man, just flat. You got to think that next week you got to be all over them.
With 36 seconds, I hated they took the knees with 36 seconds because that they needed to they actually should have went and tried to score another touchdown just to boost themselves up a little bit and make it look a little bit better, but they didn't.
Yeah, I guess when you have the game won, you can't really do that, but. Yeah, they were not impressive last night, but I still think I'm with you, Dream. I think that game actually did more to boost Jackson's Heisman candidacy than anything. And, look, they have a long week, an extra day of practice, which they're going to get beat at practice. Well, if you can anymore. And they got home against North Carolina State next week, and I'm telling you, I'm going to be all over Louisville.
You are, huh?
I'll be all over Louisville on October 22nd. Louisville is going to put some pain on North Carolina State.
Well, you know what? I did notice, and Dream, you had actually pointed this out, that there was a lot of overthrown balls. There was a lot. It just never seemed like they were in sync last night.
And I said that with the week off and be, overly excited. You see that, especially in college football. You see that a lot in college football, especially in that first half. That's why I tend to stay away from those type of situations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This goes back to my thing that I think that, and people are going to crush me for this. I think that Jackson is a college quarterback. I don't know if he translates to the pros.
I agree. I agree. It's kind of almost RG3 all over again.
Yeah.
He's a little bigger, so he's more physical. You know what I could see happening is I'm turning into Terrell Pryor.
You know what it is, though? It depends. It all really depends where he goes.
You're right. If he goes to Cleveland, he's shot.
Correct.
If Bill Belichick drafts him to sit on the bench for 4 years until Brady's like 48, and then he goes in, he'll be a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Well,
Sure.
He's only a sophomore, right?
Yeah, redshirt sophomore, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's only 19 years old, so.
So if he wins the Heisman this year, I would expect him to get out of there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's when
You have to go one more year, right?
That's when your stock is the best. So,
But don't you have to play your junior year?
Play junior year, yeah, he's right.
Yeah, you got to play your junior year.
Okay, got it. All right, guys, good morning to you. We are live on Twitter right now, SBTV Nation. Got my man Super Mario all the way in Punta Cana listening to us this morning. So enjoy yourself out there, man.
Have a mama wama on me.
Yes. On the Dreams Moneyline Parlay of the day. And I'm sure he's walking right into the sports book and putting some plays in today.
If you don't find one, I can tell you right now, the Hard Rock
yeah.
there in Punta Cana has one.
Yeah.
So just hop in the taxi, gonna take you to a little part of town that looks equivalent to Beirut. All right. Because something might bad happen. All right. You'll go straight to the Hard Rock, go in there, go down to that sports book. They got a great sports book over there. And you can put your plays in over there for sure.
Dream, I think we need another trip somewhere.
Oh, no doubt.
I was thinking about it this morning. I'm like, you know what? Myself and the Dream need to go out somewhere. I think we need to go back to Costa Rica, Dream.
We definitely.
I think that would definitely serve us right these days.
That would definitely take care of a lot of things.
Yes, exactly. Well, speaking of taking care of something, speaking of putting some money in our pockets for a trip, let's get right into it. We have a massive card of college football today, Dream. The card, as I like to allude to. And I'm going to kick it right off with you, Dream, considering the fact that it is Saturday. And we are looking at a bunch of games that start right out early as hell within the next 2 hours. Don't know if you're going to start at 12 o'clock with your plays, but I'd like to hear one piece of the Moneyline Parlay.
One piece of the Moneyline Parlay, and we're going to start no further than the Georgia Bulldogs because they're playing Vanderbilt Commodores.
Okay.
I talked to you about how awful the Vanderbilt Commodores are. I've seen them live. I know how bad it is. The play calling's bad. The execution's bad. The defense is bad. There's absolutely nothing positive that I can tell you about the Vanderbilt Commodores other than their uniforms will be clean at the beginning of the game.
I feel bad you had to sit through a Vanderbilt game.
At the end of the game, their uniforms will be. Well, never feel bad about sitting through a college football game because there's all kinds of other things that are.
That is true.
But nevertheless, I like Georgia today to get it done. Coming up, we didn't ever even talk about Georgia playing South Carolina last Sunday, which they did play and were very successful at that. Georgia comes into today, and we look for them to get the rushing game going on the ground, also the passing game going. They should have a lot of success as far as that's concerned. Vanderbilt gives up 392 yards of total offense. That's what their defense allows. So I expect Georgia to be able to capitalize on that today.
All right. Dan, any thoughts on that game?
A money-line situation.
All right.
I agree. I think Georgia still sees a big prize ahead of them because I know they have 2 losses early, but they've played a lot of road games. They still have some good wins. And you lost at Ole Miss into Tennessee, which, whatever, we'll get into Tennessee later. But if they run the table, they'll still get a big bowl game. And, it starts right here. I'm with you. I think they win. I'm not touching the spread, though.
You're not touching the spread. Okay, so,
yep.
Dream, that's piece number 1 of the Moneyline Parlay. Dan, I'm going to kick it over to you. Where are you at next?
All right, so let's do a noon one that I don't know if this is on a ton of people's radars. I'm going to Texas Tech, the Red Raiders.
All right.
Okay, I know, 2 losses here, 3-2 on the season, at home against West Virginia. Currently, I think it's +1 to a pick. I think West Virginia is in some serious trouble here. They are a very, very, very fake 4-0. And what I mean by that is they haven't played a road game. And I know you play the schedule you play, but home against Missouri, home against Youngstown State, Home against BYU, that's a mediocre team, and they barely got by Kansas State by a point last week, okay? I think Texas Tech's offense, no matter, you could literally put any one of the two quarterbacks in there, and I don't think you got to worry about it because he's starting. I think that offense unleashes some fury today, and they win big. Big win.
Big win for them today. I'm looking at it here. I mean, Texas Tech is getting 2 points at home, Dan. Over of 85 points. Wow.
I actually go under that. I think West Virginia gets held to like under 4 touchdowns.
Under 4 touchdowns. All right. I wish you the
that's
best
a
of luck
lot
with
of
that one.
points.
Got a pretty. You know what, Dream? I may take a page out of your book today. I might do an easy money line parlay. Because you know what? I've been kind of up and down with the point spreads lately.
Yep.
And I'm looking at, obviously, number 24, the undefeated team being Western Michigan, going into Akron, playing the Zips. And they're minus 12 points with an under-over of 72. And obviously, I'm looking at getting involved with Western Michigan. And I think this team, the MAC champion this year, and is going to get into a bowl game and shock the world. And maybe even a New Year's 6 game. So I'm looking at them to continue their winning ways and get it done. And you know what, Dream? I may slide that in with your Georgia and begin maybe a 4-teamer, something like that. So looking at Western Michigan to get it done. Any thoughts on that, Dan?
I'm with you. The thing that I would do instead of a money line with that, I would probably 10-point tease because I think you'll get a little bit better. And I think they win. I mean, 2 point. If you get it down to 2. I don't think it's even going to be that close. I probably think that they come close to covering the spread.
Okay.
Western I'm with you.
Michigan is putting up almost 45 points a game, and they're only allowing 20.5. Now, Akron, the thing that bothers me about the spread is that Akron has a pretty prolific offense, putting up about 38 points a game. So I'm just going to kind of play it safe with this one and move forward. Dream.
Yes, sir.
Moneyline parlay. What do you got?
Moneyline parlay, second piece to the puzzle. I am going over, and I wanted to discuss this a little bit because it does have me a little bit worried about the Texas Tech call that Dan made. Now, I happen to somewhat agree with you, and of course, Texas Tech is home. The thing that bothers me about Texas Tech, they lost to what I think is a bad Kansas State team. And that kind of bothers me about Texas Tech a little bit. Now, I said that the line was off in that game. We did have Texas Tech last week in that situation because they were plus, I think, 10 points or 12. I can't remember what it was. But losing to Kansas State was bad. So now I go over to Kansas State, and I got to be honest with you. I know I'm taking a leap of faith with this, but it's a money line situation for me. I'm going with Oklahoma today to get it done. I'm going with Baker Mayfield to get it done at home today. I'm going with Oklahoma to beat this Kansas State team. I don't like Kansas State. I felt like they've been a little bit dusty, especially on the road, and I feel like they're not a good team. Meanwhile, I'm looking at Oklahoma here with their total yards. Their offense is averaging 528 yards. Defense is allowing a little bit heavy on the yardage, but Kansas State's offense does not scare you. So the second piece of my money line parlay, one of them, because it's two separate parlays, there's a real good-looking one, and then there's a maybe one. So in the maybe one, we got Oklahoma money line.
All right, Dan, any thoughts on Oak Tree?
I've sworn myself off Oklahoma. I'm with you. I think K-State is bad. You're right. And, I mean, I see what you're saying about that Texas Tech play. The only reason is, West Virginia almost lost to them at home. It was a 1-point game, and Texas Tech lost them on the road, which still isn't good. But Texas Tech and West Virginia are notorious home teams. So that's how I feel about that. But Oklahoma just has bit me. I can't see them losing. I cannot see them losing this game.
Well, exactly what you're saying. It comes to Oklahoma. Trust me, I'm holding my breath doing it. I'm feeling like they got a little bit of momentum with a couple of wins. They can't really afford to even lose another game if they want to make a nice, decent bowl. And Kansas State stinks. Plus, they're home, so that's the only reason I'm trusting Oklahoma today.
And I'm with you, and I almost want to throw it with something just because I think the game last week against Texas turned their whole season around.
Sure. So agreed.
All right.
So I'm with you.
Dan, where are you going next?
Yeah, so for me, I have 3 3:30 games, so I'll pick one of those. You know what? I'm gonna start off again with my 3:30 slate with something that I don't think anybody's looking at.
Okay.
And it's a little down and dirty, but I love this La Tech team.
Yes, you do.
And this La Tech team is going into UMass Amherst, a 1-5 UMass Amherst team that I don't think is going to be able to hold them under 55 points. I know La Tech's 3-3, but if you look at who they lost to, they lost to some pretty good teams. UMass is not that team. I know they're on the road. I bought the hook just to feel a little more comfortable at -14. But I think that this game is going to wind up like the beatdown that it should be. I mean, you're talking about a team that at home lost by a touchdown to Tulane. Their only win this year was FIU at home by 8 points.
Yep.
BC put up a 26 spot on them.
Right.
Okay. La Tech is going to put up 50-plus points.
And you know what? They gotta cure those road woes because they are 3-8 in the last 11 games on the road. So I'm sure that's kind of in their brain, stuck.
And this is where you can do it. And if you look at the road games this year were at Arkansas, right? At Texas Tech, who we said is a home monster, especially offensively, and they put up 59 on them.
Yep.
And then at Middle Tennessee, which was a hard-fought game, they lost by 4. So definitely think that they cure that road ale today because their coach is all over them. They're not overlooking this game.
They're not overlooking the game. Okay, so you're calling them to cover the spread. You think they're going to get it done,
yeah.
And you're buying the hook.
I'm buying. I mean, you got to buy the hook, right? I mean, you get it down to -120. Hit me up. I'll give you a dime.
There you go. All right, guys. So moving on here, I'm going to talk about a game now. I don't think I'm going to get involved with a favorite here and put this in a moneyline parlay. And you might call me crazy, and I know, Dan, you're going to have all kinds of problems with what I'm going to say here. I'm considering going with Tennessee plus the points today.
Dan does that. I got mad problems because you all do something stupid every week.
Number 1, Alabama at number 9, Tennessee. Alabama -13.5 with an under over 57. I don't know if you guys remember last year where Tennessee almost beat them on the field.
Good.
Yeah, just like Arkansas almost did last year too, right?
Yeah.
Those guys that played last year are there this year.
Yeah, no, this is a tough game. I think that both of these teams know each other pretty damn well. I think Tennessee falls down early but gets that backdoor cover and makes it work. So I may get it up to 14 points. I like Tennessee plus the points. I something's screaming at me. I think that's way too much.
What's screaming at you is the Miami Dolphin play. That
Oh, shut up, kid.
I'm going to go right here. Listen, I told you Vanderbilt stinks. Tennessee stinks. We talked about Tennessee being overrated at the beginning of the season. The Texas A&M win was, everybody and their mom saw that, including me last week. With Texas A&M beating Tennessee. Tennessee is getting beat by Alabama. And the thing with Tennessee is they want to do that first half dusty, second half dope.
Yeah, that sucks.
Okay, do the first half dusty with Alabama. You'll probably be down 21 points, even though Alabama hates blowing you out.
If not more.
Not more, but they hate blowing you out. But here's the thing. You're not going to come back and have that kind of comeback success versus Alabama's defense. Because Alabama's defense right now is probably the best defense in college. I won't say the best, but I am going to say one of the top 5 best defenses in college football right now. Allowing on the ground 69.2 yards. So that means you can't rush, which is majorly what Tennessee does. Okay, and all through the air, 223 yards. This game has crime scene implications.
So, Dream, are you putting Bama in your moneyline parlay?
It's in the dope moneyline parlay along with Georgia.
All right, sounds good. Well, you know what? Hey, we're on 2 totally different sides on that. I'm just,
Alabama extended line. Alabama -20.
Alabama adjusted
plus
line.
210, adjusted line. You take it. Tennessee is getting their doors kicked in. Like, hide your families because Alabama's coming to steal them. Look, man, I mean, this Alabama team, I feel like they have a chip on their shoulder because they came into this year and people are like, I don't know if it's the same Alabama team. I don't know, if the coach can do it again this year. These guys aren't as talented as the other guys. And what have they done? They've literally annihilated their competition outside of Ole Miss, which they still won at one of the hardest places to play on the road and put up 48 points to do it. I think Tennessee and they're notorious for starting slow. Like Dream said, at least 3 touchdowns if they get off like that.
Wow. All right, guys. Well, hey, wish I could say I wish you the best of luck, but I don't.
First half, second half, all day.
You're gonna get involved with Alabama. Hey, you know what? They did look impressive last week. I got to give it to them.
Dude, Alabama beat the Cleveland Browns right now.
Yeah, good point. All right. So, Dan, I'm going to move over to you. What do you got?
Dolphins.
What'd you say, Dream?
Well, come on.
A Dream.
Sir.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Hey, and the Niners.
Yeah, right. Keep it moving.
So
Dan, where you at?
I'm going with something where, and this is a play. I'm going to call it my anger and hatred play. So I'm going against a team that has robbed me of money lately, and I am fading the North Carolina Tar Heels today and taking the Miami Hurricanes.
You are
minus the 7 points. The Miami Hurricanes showed me a lot last week. I thought that game against Florida State, even though they went into it, as the favorite, I just didn't see it that way, and they played a lot better. And their defense is dope, okay? Their defense is real dope, and North Carolina's offense can't get out of their own way.
Yep.
I mean, turnovers and overthrown balls. It's like their quarterback doesn't look good, their receivers don't look good, the offensive line doesn't look good, and their defense sure as hell doesn't look good either. I think they blow their doors off today because think about it. Miami, they lost the game to Florida State, but you look at the rest of their schedule, all of a sudden it got a lot easier. Notre Dame isn't good. Virginia Tech is mediocre. Pittsburgh isn't that good. If they are able to run the table and finish with 1 loss, they're still right there for an ACC championship spot, depending on what happens.
I agree. My challenge with that, Dan, is that anytime I seem to bet a college football team off a loss, it punches me in the face because sometimes they don't bounce back right away. It kind of and they play these ugly games.
I hear you, and if it was on the road, I'd be far away.
Yeah, I get it. But I mean, but then again, look at North Carolina off the beatdown. They got Vivatech in their house in the rain. So, I mean, they're probably not feeling all that well today, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're not. I mean,
the funny thing about North Carolina in last week's game is you got to talk about North Carolina. We talked about them at the beginning of the season, this not being a good season for them, more in a rebuilding state. They came out and shocked a few people with their first few games, and then everybody was like, okay, well, yeah, maybe they're back, maybe they're not who we thought we were, and they're going to be good. But they weren't supposed to be good this season, and I think it all came to fruition. Coming into Miami, I happen to agree with you. My only Miami, Mark Rick, coach team. I think being home, I think Miami will win. I agree with you.
All right. Sounds good. Dream, what do you got next?
Next on the slate. Like I said, I'm not doing it exciting. This isn't for style points. This is not the Olympics. This is gambling. And I'm going to no other than maybe the second or third best team in the country, the Clemson Tigers, at home today against North Carolina State. Deshaun Watson's back at it. They did their thing last week. They look like maybe they found some rhythm since that Louisville game, got a little swagger in their system or whatever. Expect them to have a lot of success today. Expect them to be really good against this North Carolina State team. And we know how hard it is to play at Clemson. Got Clemson winning this game. Clemson's the next piece of the puzzle in my money line parlay.
All right. Dan, any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I actually think this game is going to be close for like a half, and then Clemson pulls away. I'm with you. I just think North Carolina State is not, it's not that bad. They always find a way to lose to East Carolina, but their defense is okay. But so I just don't like the line here. What is it, 19.5? Yeah, 19.5. Something just, I think they win the game. I don't see any issue with that. I just can see North Carolina State with that slick backdoor cover. So I would stay away from the spread if you're looking at it.
All right, sounds good. So I'm going to move over to the SEC. And this team has had a little bit of time off now, considering the fact that last week's game got canceled. Florida, number 18, has Missouri coming into town. And Florida's minus 13 points with an under over a 51.5. Dream, you know I've been a big fan of this Florida defense ever since the last year's season.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm looking at them. Just Mizzou, 0-2 in the SEC. They're just not getting it done this year. I really like Florida to get it done. It may be a tighter game than I think, but I'm going to slide this into a money line parlay. I think Florida gets it done at 4 o'clock. Any thoughts?
I love the under in this game.
You love the under 51.
I actually see it now at some places 52.5.
Okay.
52.5. I think Missouri's only strength is its defense. And Florida's offense isn't that great, but you're right. Their defense is solid, rock solid.
Yes.
I think they win the game, and it's a very, very low-scoring game. I could see something like maybe 21-13 Florida,
Yep, got it.
So I'm all over that under 52.5.
And Florida just cannot seem to cover a spread at all. 1-5 against the spread in their last 6. 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 at home. Missouri is an absolutely brutally awful team, especially on the road. They're 3-9 in their last 12 games. This team is just kind of
what happened to Missouri?
They got to do something. Ever since all the controversy last year and all that, they're just a mess. I like Florida to get done. Florida only allows 11.6 points per game, and that actually got inflated with the Tennessee game. So I like Florida to get it done and win this game and get it done. Dream.
Are you money lining it?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Because my issue with Florida is I hate a team with no offense.
Yeah, I get it.
And the problem is Missouri doesn't have a lot of offense neither, but Florida capitalizes off the other team making a bunch of mistakes. Now, Missouri can make mistakes, but I don't necessarily know that they will make mistakes in this game. So this game, like Dan said, I absolutely like under 2 because this game could be 3-0.
3-0 final. Exactly. Well, you know what? Hey, I think Florida will win the game. And you know what? When you have a defense like that, you force short fields, you force turnovers. You don't really need to hold the ball that long as far as – the offense will be on the field most of the game because the defense, could force a lot of 3-and-outs. You know what I'm saying?
How's Florida's field – these field goal kickers are probably bad like every other college kicker, too.
Of course they are.
So,
but, hey, I'm moving on, and I'm going to take Florida today to get it done. Dream, you got anything else?
Oh, of course. I don't have anything else. We're not done yet.
Yeah, you're not done yet. Yeah, because you're right now. I put your money line parlay into a calculator, and right now you're getting about 60% on your money.
And now we're going to move right on over.
Dream, you there?
Yeah, I am. I'm here.
All right, I missed that. What was that?
I said the next spot is going to be. I already gave Georgia. I already gave Alabama. I already gave Clemson. Now I'm going into the late night, and we're going to start off with Houston.
Houston?
We're going with Houston.
You mean the team that's going to play in this Tax Slayer Bowl this year?
Frankfurt Jr. to bounce back. They're going up against Tulsa tonight. It is another money line situation. I expect Houston to bounce back. I am just slightly worried, where the kids' psyche are, but I think at home against Tulsa, I think they're a little bit upset about what happened last week, but I think they're going to be okay. Greg Ward will continue to play well. I think they'll capitalize on his legs a little bit in this game. I don't necessarily know that Tulsa will be able to defend Houston. I think Houston will be able to get this win, and it is a money line situation, so all they have to do is win.
All right, so that puts you at about 70% on your money. So that's not bad. It's not bad, Dream.
I'm worried about Houston being able to defend Tulsa here.
Okay.
Tulsa scores a lot of points. They're 4-1. Their only loss was at Ohio State, which, I can forgive that. Their defense is a little bit underrated. Bad game at Fresno State. I see what you're saying, but like you said, I got to be real worried about this Houston psyche. And I like this team. And again, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Louisville. It's like you're leaning too much on your QB. Way too much. And, he's got to drive you, but you got to help him out. And they could not stop Navy last week. And again, Tulsa put up 88 points in their last 2 weeks combined. I know it's Fresno State and SMU. Fine. this is a big spread, and I don't see it. I actually kind of like Tulsa against the spread, plus 3 touchdowns.
All right, so maybe you guys both win, and it lands right in the middle.
I'm rooting for Dream. I ain't going to touch it because it could, like, if Houston does get rolling and gets out of hand, but I don't know, man. 3 touchdowns is a lot.
Okay.
Talk to me about this game, no. Not, I mean, as far as Tulsa's concerned, tough. You could say tough game against Fresno State. Then you back it up with a tough game against SMU at home. Beat SMU at home by 3 points.
That is very fair, but that is fair.
It is fair. All right, guys. So moving on, we need to talk about the big one in the Big Ten at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got number 2, The Ohio State University, at number 8, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's 4-1. Ohio State's 5-0. Ohio State is minus 11 points, Dream. One of the best defenses in college football. They're actually second to the Michigan Wolverines, giving up 10.8 points per game. Very, very impressive. And they're going into Wisconsin. Is this game a trap, Dream?
No, it's not. Another piece of the money line parlay. There's 2 pieces left. Another pieces to the money line parlay is definitely the Ohio State University going into Wisconsin. Urban Meyer coach team on the road. We know how successful that particular situation works out. As we talk about Action Jackson, we talk about Watson, we forget that JT Barrett is having quite a season himself. 981 yards through the air with 15 touchdowns. Absolutely getting it done over there as far as Ohio State is concerned. This team's been able to pretty much dismantle everybody they played. They play a little bit better, it seems, on the road than they may even play at home. I like them. I know Wisconsin, kind of tough defense. Yeah. Wisconsin's going to be there. They're at home. I know what Wisconsin's talking about, but Wisconsin's defense has allowed 360 yards this season. They allow 161 of it on the ground. They allow 198 of it through the air. That is going to be a problem.
All right. So you're taking the Ohio State University Dream. And if you put those 5 teams together, you're actually in plus money now.
I know you are, but it's not quite done like how you got it, how you're keeping track of it. Okay. I will break down how it's done.
All right. Sounds good. Dan.
So you're not going to, I got Wisconsin plus the 11.
You got Wisconsin plus the 11. Can they shock the world?
I have a small money line play in Wisconsin.
Interesting. Very interesting. They did play Michigan tough in the Big House.
Real tough in the Big House. Real tough. And I know there's no emotional wins, in college football. You either win or lose the game. But, this is a team that I know LSU is not great, but, they're still a long time SEC, title contender that they beat. They beat down, the teams that they're supposed to beat down. They beat the hell out of Michigan State on the road. They hung in there in Michigan the whole time. I just think they're going to give Ohio State some troubles. Look, I put a very small money line play on this because I think it's going to be very, very close throughout. The plus 11, though, I think that's too many points. Way too many points.
Home team underdog on prime time, Betty.
Love it.
Yeah. Maybe it'll shock the world today and get it done. Dream, I'm going to move over to you. You got anything else?
I do have something else. The very last piece of the puzzle. Very last piece of the puzzle. Ole Miss.
Ole Miss on the road at Arkansas. I've been looking at that game too.
Ole Miss on the road at Arkansas. I like Ole Miss in a money line situation. We talk about Kelly. We talk about the offense there. Ole Miss still is playing, I know they caught their losses at the beginning of the season. They've been able to rebound, and in some of their losses, they were able to play, somewhat effective against some of the defenses that they saw. Arkansas obviously annihilated against Alabama, and I don't necessarily know that they're even going to bounce back from that. And I haven't liked what I've seen out of them for most of the season. So I think that they're going to struggle as far as being successful against Alabama. Against Ole Miss's defense, and I think Ole Miss was going to be able to have a lot of success offensively through the air against Arkansas's defense.
All right. So I'm looking at it, and you know what? The 2 losses that they had were, Florida State and Alabama. And they were I mean, they were dominating Florida State in the first half and gave it up in the second half. Second game with Alabama, they had the lead for quite some time in that game. This team is a couple of ball bounces away from being undefeated. So, Dream, you might be onto something. I just don't like taking road teams unless I know that it's a clear, decisive, lopsided affair. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, Dan, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Ole Miss gets it done, but yeah, I can't go near that. Just conference road. No, I'm good.
You're good with that.
Yeah.
All right, Dan. Well, what do you got next?
I got my 4 plays, man, and my baseball player. Actually 6 plays. So I think I'm pretty good on the day.
You're good on
6
the day.
plays is a lot for me these days.
It is. It definitely is. So, hey, I wish you the best of luck with your stuff. And
You too.
I'm looking at the card here, guys, just seeing if there's any other games that we missed that are marquee matchups.
There
of
is
the day.
something that's not a marquee matchup, though. I just want to. I know a lot of people like this Washington State team at home tonight.
There, go ahead.
They lost. Didn't they lose their starting linebacker this week? He got arrested, right?
Yep.
Back off that game. That's a big key. That's an emotional thing. You know how these college kids are.
Yep.
You know that these coaches never expect their kids to get arrested. So who knows if the coach has a plan in place? That's a game that I almost want to go UCLA plus the 7.5. I haven't made the decision yet. I want to see some things, but that's something I'm leaning towards the late night. That's a 10:30 p.m. game, which I know everybody and their mother is going to be on after the day. So that's what I want to say.
All right. Dream,
You think that too, Dream?
No, I like Washington State in this only because UCLA's defense to me is terrible. I think UCLA's defense is terrible, and you'll probably get in a shootout situation. I like Washington State's chances in a shootout situation with UCLA, but UCLA's defense is just bad. So I like Washington State to win this game. It's not one of the games I love, though. Like you, I'm not getting involved with it, but I think that Washington State will win.
All right. Let me ask you guys another question. I'm going to go over the Big Ten real quick. And I know that I got punched in the face with this team quite a bit, but how bad is Rutgers?
Bad.
Horrible, right? I mean, the program is an absolute embarrassment.
Shambles.
It's an embarrassment, and quite frankly, Lovie Smith really needs a win here, Dream.
Oh, son, please.
I mean, this is the oldest program in the nation. This is the first college football program.
Lovie Smith needs a win here, Dream.
Hey, what is with you?
The Fighting Illini are a 4.5 point favorite versus Rutgers at Rutgers. I think they'll get the win.
All right, player, go get them.
So, Dream, Tennessee, I got, and I might get the Fighting Illini.
Leave you with the love man. Don't of all by yourself, player.
I mean, I don't know how you. How is Rutgers? You come back.
How do you come back from being down 78?
Well, remember in the week before they lost 58-0.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
how do you not pick on this team?
But this team hung in there with Iowa at home, 14-7.
Yeah, but Iowa's not that good.
No, but it's Rutgers, right?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Washington only beat him by 35. I don't know, man. You're on an island. I feel bad for Rutgers.
I'm on a pretty rough island here. I mean,
Rutgers. Talk about one more thing. The battle of the overrated booty teams that used to be good and not good this year at all. Stanford and Notre Dame.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, because what's the line on that game, Dream?
It is minus. Notre Dame's minus. I don't know how Notre Dame's even given anything. It should be a pick.
2-4 Notre Dame versus 3-2 Stanford, and Notre Dame is favored -3. What's your thoughts?
Is McCaffrey playing? Was he banged up?
That's a really good question. We got to take a look at that right now and see if he's in. I know that he was questionable.
Yeah, I still think he's a Heisman candidate.
Not really.
Not at all, Dream.
He's going to go in the 7th round of the Patriots.
Another great white hope football.
Extinguished.
Yep.
Hey, us white people will still have Gronkowski. So.
Yep.
No doubt.
We still got Conor McGregor, Dream.
Gronk, Trump, and good credit.
We got Gronk, Trump, and Conor McGregor. Exactly. Christian McCaffrey is questionable for the game with the leg injury.
Yeah. So I think this is a stay away from game, complete stay away from, because Stanford, I mean, even with McCaffrey out there, they've looked garbage, and Notre Dame is garbage. So,
that's a
I'd
tough
fall
game.
back off this.
I'd rather get involved in the Fighting Illini versus Rutgers in that game.
No, I'm not getting involved. I just brought it up just to talk about it. I'm done. I'm not getting involved in none of that. I'm all done with that. And don't get involved with Rutgers. I mean, come on.
All right, well, there's one more game, and my man Wayne Yarbrough is asking me to talk about it, and that is in the Big Ten. You've got, Dream, 5-0 Nebraska, who is number 10 in the land, going into Indiana, who is 3-2 overall.
It's like 1995 all over again.
Yeah, Nebraska -3. Dan, what's your thoughts on Nebraska versus Indiana? You think this will be an ugly game?
It's one of those, again, road team, conference, Indiana, definitely looking to take Nebraska down a peg.
Yep.
And I think Indiana is not as bad as the record indicates. I mean, I don't know what's up with Michigan State, but, they hung in there with Ohio State. They covered that spread. It was 28. They hung in there. No, but I do think Nebraska beats them pretty handily today. I think they go in there and beat them.
Nebraska only allows 17.6 points per game. And they're 5-0 in the last 5, obviously being 5-0. And Indiana's been that pain in the ass team.
Yeah, that's what's bothering me. That's why I don't think I can put money.
I go back to last year with Indiana when they were hanging with, they almost beat The Ohio State University last year. I remember it. And being at home, they're not that good at home. In the last 7 games, they're 2-5, but they've had some stiff competition. So this might be a little bit of a trap game for Nebraska. I'd stay away from this, brother.
The only road game that they've played was at Northwestern, and they won by 11.
Yep.
Northwestern is pretty bad. So, I'd stay far away from this.
All right. So I think that does it for college football. One other thing I could tell you guys, that Yale, the Bulldogs stink. So if you can find that line anywhere, you might want to consider betting against the Yale Bulldogs and going from there. Dan, one thing before we close out of here, I want to get into the Dodgers versus the Cubs game, which is tonight, and we will have a conversation about that with you. Where are you at with this game?
Yeah, so I want to just pull up what the line is at right now, because I've noticed the money line been jumping all over the place. So give me 1 second, because Maeda versus Lester.
Yes.
-200 Cubs. God, I really think Cubs run line is the play.
Okay.
I don't think Lester gives up more than a run.
Okay.
I think Maeda gets knocked around the ballpark today. I don't know if someone could hit me up. I'm looking it up right now. I don't know what the weather in Wrigley is supposed to be tonight. I think the wind. So it's looking okay. So it's looking like it's going to be in the low 60s. Wind at 12 miles per hour. Maeda, I think, gives up a couple home run balls today. I think Lester's going to be able to keep control. The line right now is also at 7.5. I'm kind of leaning the over on that, but I really do like the Cubs run line.
Okay, Dream, you getting involved with the Cubbies?
I have them in a series play. You know that.
Okay. So you're not doing a game to game to game.
I'm not doing a game to game. No.
All right, sounds good. So, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for us.
Just real quick, the one other option that I like with the Cubs real quick is if you have this opportunity, the open money line parlay. So take the Cubs, open money line them at -200.
All right.
Because I think they also win tomorrow, and then you could finish it out tomorrow. Or take an NFL play with it.
There you go. And we got a big slate of NFL tomorrow,
Woo!
guys. So we're looking forward to a big show on Sunday. We'll be taking your calls tomorrow and discussing the NFL slate. So we're going to close out of here. Dan, I'm going to start it off with you with your plays. I'll kick it over to Dream, and then we'll finish off with yours truly. What do you got, Dan?
All right, so I'm going to be riding that Florida game, the under 52.5.
All right.
Wisconsin plus 11 and a very small money line play. La Tech minus 14 bought the hook. Miami minus 7. Texas Tech plus 1. And Alabama. I'm sorry, Hatter. Alabama minus 14. And I might even get it at the adjusted line of minus 20. We'll see.
All right. Dream. Where
Yes,
you
sir.
at? What do you got?
Here we go. 3-team parlay is the main parlay gang. It is the Ohio State University, the Georgia Bulldogs, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. That is where the money is. Then you chain a 4-team money line parlay to that parlay. So here's the deal. If that parlay loses, the chain parlay loses. So you don't tie up a whole bunch of money in case you get a mess, because the other parlay to me is more controversial, and it is 4 teams: Clemson, Oklahoma, Houston, and Mississippi. Put them in. Go make some hot dogs. Go get a couple of beers.
Yeah.
Check out the ticker. Go back. Enjoy some time with your family. Check out a couple of games. Sit down at night. Have your dinner, because it's an all-day play. Both of them all day. Watch them cash, and if they don't, then you didn't lose too much because they were chained together. We'll come back and we'll try it again tomorrow. But I got a feeling that these are going to work out today. Should be pretty easy situations for most of them. There'll be a couple of stomach aches splashed in there, but hopefully you missed it because you're out doing the yard, enjoying a beautiful fall day.
Yes, sir. All right, Dream. So I'm with you with the Georgia Bulldogs. I am also looking at getting involved in, and it pains me to say this, but the Fighting Illini to get it done in Rutgers, because Rutgers is absolutely wretched, terrible, and I believe Lovie Smith needs a win.
I feel bad for your eyes that they have to watch that mess.
I'm also getting involved in Western Michigan. Number 24 in the land, who are 6-0 to win the game versus the Akron Zips. Looking at the Tennessee Volunteers getting plus 13.5. Dan, I sound like you today. I got all these plays.
I know. I love it.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm looking at the Florida Gators to get it done and win their game versus Missouri. And I am also looking at, where is it? What other game did I have? I believe that's it for the card today. I may jump on the Cubs later on. I don't know yet.
Open parlay the Cubs, I'm telling you, man.
Okay.
Leicester in the playoffs.
All right.
It's been really good.
Sounds good. So let's get out of here. Dream, what do you got to do to close out?
Yes, sir. I want to thank everybody out there that's retweeting the show. We got a lot of people out this morning and good looking on that. We got Rick Lopez, Snoopy Betts, Shane Ted. Got it right this time, Shane. Gotcha. Winning Picks is out there. Terrence Mack is in the house. My boy Jonesy. What's happening, player? I love Jones. He'll be hitting me up later today. I love Jonesy's sweet story today. Whatever game he's on when he's ticked off, I love seeing them because they remind me of me so much. Thierry Bichard is in the house. We also have my man Jeff Ryan, C. Rodriguez Jr., the incredible Marley Marr, Mind Funk, OJFB, Harley Morris, Wayne Yarborough, Super Mario to the Bank, Louis Cypher, Vegas Girl 92661. We got TG in the house as well. Rick Lopez, Jim Rome is a douche. Jackie's out there. My boy Urban is in the house. Killer Cam 505, Cash Action Bets, Joseph Del Rosario, Frank Vincolata, Direct Sports Solution, Rainmaker 512, BT Papa and JDH24, just to name a few. Gang, I'm the Dream. Always remember who you're with. Make the most of each and every day. We'll be back tomorrow to do it again.
Yes, sir. Guys, we love you to death. Go out there and go easy. Rise and grind. Make all your dreams a damn reality and get that money. Let's go.
Peace.